Good evening, everyone. Good evening, respected sir. I am going to teach you today casting process. Myself, Dr. Pramod Kumar, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at MIT Muzaffarpur. First of all, I would like to describe my session outcomes, then introduction, then what is casting process, and then summary. Here in the session outcomes today, I will be able to teach you about the importance of casting, then what is casting definition and its classification, then what are the basic steps of casting, then we will recognize about the types of sand in the casting, then we will illustrate the pattern and its types, and lastly we will identify the casting defects. So first, I would like to tell what is casting. As casting in Hindi we say dhalai. As in everyone the construction might be going, you all might have observed the construction going on at your home or nearby place. That they prepare one what I can say that mold, and in that they put the material and let it solidify or set. We say here casting we will focus on the metal casting. That casting is the process in which the molten metal is poured into a mold or a cavity and we let it to solidify till it becomes the final product. That is, so there are many factors. What are the factors on which casting depends? So here, before going to the factors, I would like to tell about its applications. Why we are doing casting? That is also very important. So with the help of the casting, we can make gearbox. Many industry, it has a lot of applications. Like wheel we can make. The best example, as the madam is sitting here, I think all madam might have wearing jewelry. So jewelry is also made by one of the casting process that is known as the investment casting. I will come later on it. Okay. So here in the example I have shown the gearbox casting, aluminum manifold casting, wheel. Now in the application, it has various applications. Like in automotive sector, it has a wide applications. Then it has in industrial machinery, like in automotive, we can make it engine blocks, cylinder heads, manifolds, transmission housings. In agriculture, tractor parts has been made with. If in daily life you see that garbages are being dumped, you can see the tractor is there. The excavators are being made with the help of this casting process. So we can say from the very small to the big size product can be made by this casting process. Okay. Now the other like decorative items are also being made by this casting process, like statues, large bells are being made by this process. This casting history I would like to discuss. That I am not because this casting is not a very new technique. It has been evolved 5,000 years ago only. Like we see during the age of Mesopotamian and Egyptian, they used casting to make intricate bronze and copper objects. Around 1300 BC, they used this technique to make tools for शिकार करने के लिए. They used to make these tools for copper weapons. During the Iron Age, 200 BC to 600 BC, they have used this made for weapon productions. Then come from 14th to 17th century, they have used for making cannon castings. We can see that cannon means what you can say, that is जिससे हथियार हम लोग बम वगैरह शेल करते हैं, that is a cannon. Then industrial revolution in 18th 19th centuries. Now in the 20th century, the precise casting manufacturing took place, as I have taken the example of the investment casting. Later, after the 20th century, if we talk about the 21st century, then in this casting advanced more and it became the steel casting, where this casting process a little modified to make the composite materials. As you can see in our automobiles, you can go see most of the here faculties might be having car or two. What is the big challenge in the car? That is the big challenge in the today car is what? That they do not, if accident occurs, then their car get mashed. Okay, so in that we can go aluminum products. We can reinforce the aluminum to increase its strength. So that is the innovative today. We can advance the casting to the steel casting to make a more durable products. Okay, now casting the here since it is a very vague topic and I am just discussing the brief of the casting. So the sub classification of the casting, sand casting process. I can show you by the figures better. That first one is the sand casting process. Here in the sand casting process, the mold is made up of the sand. Die casting process. Here the mold is permanent molds are used made of metals. We have the gravity die casting where also metals are used, but the concept with low pressure gravity is being used. Now we have the shell mold casting, investment casting I have told that used for making jewelry products. Now centrifugal casting, where in this casting we can make the hollow shaped objects can be made with the help of the casting. Now the basic steps in the casting. What will be the basic steps in the casting? First casting, what we need? We need a material which can be for which we want to make the product. First is the material. First we need the material. The material can be any type. Here we are discussing about the metal. So we will take the metal. Can you tell me the melting point of aluminum? 650. So as sir said 650. So we need something to melt that. That is the furnace. We need a furnace. So first we need a material, then we need a furnace, then we need a mold. What is the mold? That is the cavity. The cavity is the shape of the object made by the pattern in which you are pouring the molten metal. That is the cavity, or we can say the mold. So we need a mold. Then we pour the molten metal in that cavity to get the desired product after solidification. Now, if the solidification has occurred, then what we do? Suppose a product is made. Can that product be launched to the market or to the people? Is it possible? Without testing, what we have to do? We have to test the product. That whatever the product I have got, whether it is a defective or to what level defects are there. So we have to go for the inspection. That is inspection of the possible defects in the casting. So this only I have explained through the flow chart. That we keep the sand. Here I have taken the sand. That is the sand for sand casting. We will make the mold with the help of the sand in the sand casting. Then we will pour the molten metal in the mold in casting. Heat treatment. Heat treatment required if certain strength has not reached in the product. Then heat treatment is done, and finally the inspection is being done. Here, what are the different types of sand? What we are talking about the sand. What are different types of sand used here? Here is the green sand, dry sand, loam sand, parting sand, facing. I am not going in depth of these sands because it will integrate a different module. I have to discuss it. So just in an overview, I am telling what are the different types of sand. In this sands are categorized based upon the content of the clay, content of the water. It has been sub-classified. What is core sand? What is a core? For in this casting, for making a hollow shaped objects, we use a sand core. Okay. Suppose this is a mold. This is a mold, and it has some shape. If we pour the molten metal directly, then what will happen? Suppose it is a block, solid block. The complete block will be casted. If I put a core, that is a solid part, and put the molten metal inside, then that solid part will not be solidified. That is known as a core. Okay. Now pattern. Pattern is a very essential in the very beginning. The steps of casting only I have told. That pattern is very important. What is pattern? Pattern क्या है? Pattern है replica of the product what we want to make. जो भी प्रोडक्ट हम बनाना चाहते हैं उसका एक रेप्लिका, एक मॉडल, उसी को हम लोग बोल रहे हैं पैटर्न. We are telling you that there are different methods of making a pattern. The pattern can be made of wood, the pattern can be made of plastic, the pattern can be made of metal, the pattern can be made of wax. Okay. Here I have shown two examples of the pattern. And what are the different types of pattern? That is single. Here I have shown some types of pattern: single piece pattern, two piece pattern, dated pattern, multiple piece pattern. Based upon their application, these patterns are being used. Like complexity of your product, the patterns will be varied. Now, casting that I have told that after the solidification occurs, the casting will have some defects. So we should understand about some of the defects of the casting. These are the few defects, like during the casting some gases are being trapped, so blowholes, pinholes will be formed. Mishran is the casting defect. If cope and drag is not properly